This is the next video about the ultraviolet light experiments. And like I told in the earlier video, you have here, say, two types of ultraviolet LEDs. One is for the UVC band and the other one is for the UVA band. And they have, of course, different voltages to be supplied with. So you see what I was doing this evening about these ultraviolet LEDs. And I told in the earlier video that the UVC LED for the smaller frequencies needs approximately 6 volts and the UVA LED needs approximately 3 volts. So my first idea was, like I show it here, to make two voltage stabilizers so that I could supply both LEDs with 12 volt, and then each voltage stabilizer gives out, say, a specific voltage, be it 6 volt or be it 3 volt. But I found out that these voltages to these ultraviolet light LEDs are very, very precise. Say, in a certain way, too precise for my idea, but I got it all working after some experiments, and that's what I want to show now. Here the whole circuit again. The UVC LED was quite easy. Here is that circuit. Voltage stabilizer made with a BD139, that's here. This one here. And a Zener diode of 6.2 volts. Of course, there was some compensation needed to make here exactly 6 volt that the UVC LED needed. And say I mounted here another diode, 1N407, in a reverse way. By the way, when you don't understand what's happening here, go to my YouTube channel. I have explained this many and more times, how this all works. So I have here stabilized voltage in the order of 6 volts. This was the other idea, make again a stabilized voltage in the order of 3 volts. That's what the UVA LED here needs. And perhaps interesting to show, when I switch all the lights out, now the UVC light is working, and now I switch on the UVA light. So different frequencies, different properties in all kinds of ways. That's the most important thing to tell when we are talking about ultraviolet light. In all kinds of ways it can affect the human body, say plants, etc, etc. But anyway, so this is what I wanted to show anyway. Now back to the electronics. I couldn't get it working, the UVA, though I had to study that more, using other diodes here, etc, etc, to get out the exact voltage at the output to drive the ultraviolet A light emitting diode. say like it was here. This is ultraviolet A here. I mounted it on a well varnished piece of wood, etc, etc. I've also done that here, by the way, anyway. But afterwards the whole idea was use two resistors here, 1K and 1K. That means that the base of the transistor receives 6 volts. There's a voltage drop here, so that means that the output at the emitter is in the order of 5 volts. And here a series resistor to that UVA LED, and that worked. And of course, when you want to do more serious experiments, you can replace this resistor by a Zener diode in the order of 4 volts. In fact, we have the same here, though of course according to Ohm's law here the voltage will vary somewhat, but anyway, as long as there is 12 volts here, there's no problem. So let's switch all the lights off. Look at the beautiful, beautiful ultraviolet light. When I look at it now, it's not so fierce, but via my camera is more sensitive for ultraviolet light, it's much more fierce. And like one of my followers, Barry Blood, told me, these LEDs get hot. A kind of problem, and the reason is that one of the reasons is that I've diminished now the supply voltage to 7.2 volts or 7 volts, perhaps 8 volts or so. You can see that the current drops down. So that's a good advice. I tell here 12 volt, but a better supply voltage, not to burn out all these LEDs, ultraviolet LEDs, is say 8 volts or 9 volts. Anyway, let's look at the beautiful radiation. Do the switch now here. And now I switch on the UVA. And now there's only the UVC. And like I told in earlier videos, it's only a very narrow band in the UVC range, but anyway, it can work, etc, etc. UVA and only UVC. And when you touch here, touch the LEDs, they are hot. I had not expected that at all, so perhaps I have to diminish the voltage of my power supply, not to 7.2 volt, but say to 6 volts or so. Perhaps that helps. Let's try. Good experiment. Go now to 6 volts. Let's try again whether we have radiation. So we still have radiation at 6 volts. That's very, very interesting and very good. But say the UVA LED does not want to work. So now we only have the UVC LED. Anyway, these are, say, all the things that you can expect when you are doing these experiments. Thanks for watching. Pen over somewhat. it truly works. It's a good circuit. And perhaps, like I told, you can use here only a resistor instead of that transistor. But anyway, in that case you have to do experiments with the value here. Couldn't be that it is not 100 ohms, but say 470 ohms or so. Back to the radiation. I like it. Radiation in the ultraviolet C range.